Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to do for this week's episode what I call the basic grilled cheese. It's cheese, bread, butter, all that good stuff. You grill it, get some nice beautiful crunch and color, and one of those things that you can just pair with soup, a salad if you want, beer, or another grilled cheese. In fact, in some cases, you slip a little bit of meat in there and you've got grilled ham and cheese or a cheeseburger, whatever. It's really versatile, and one of those things with school back in session, it's also a great snack for kids. So I'm going to start at the start, which I have a bread that I like to make for when I'm making grilled cheese, and I feel like I'm going to go a little extra. Sometimes I just use sourdough. So let's get into it. Alright, so here's our ingredients for a simple white bread that I'm going to make. We have 450 grams of bread flour, a gram of yeast, 5 grams of salt, 280 milliliters of water, and it's about room temperature. And then this is my sourdough starter. I'm going to do 150 grams from this. However, it's not the most active right now since I've had it in the fridge for about a week. So this is only being treated as a pre-ferment. And my sourdough starter itself is a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every 100 grams of flour in it, there's 100 grams of water. And I'm going to throw it all into here. We're going to mix it up, do some final kneading, and we're good to go. This isn't going to be a sour bread. This is a bread that's going to turn out pretty mild, neutral. Now, if you don't have sourdough starter, that's totally fine. Just double the amount of yeast that you use. Use 2 grams or maybe 3 grams of yeast, and you're going to get just as great a reaction. You're just not going to get that little extra fermentation. I go this route, using it either as a pre-ferment or as the yeast leavening agent, because I found that sourdough breads and breads that have a sourdough culture in them are just better for me. I have a very mild gluten sensitivity, and so if I eat too much bread, my joints feel very arthritic. If it's sourdough bread, I don't get those problems. So now everybody else, into the pool, right? So here's our water, our yeast, and we're going to do flour. And then finally, the salt gets to go on top. And we're going to go with the bread hook for about 2-3 minutes. When you're mixing your bread, make sure that you start really slow, get the flour incorporated, and then you can speed it up. Alright, that's mixed for a bit. Now we're going to take a quick look at it. So the dough looks good, pulls off the hook pretty well. And now it is a little sticky to touch. Basically, with a dough like this, this looks wonderful. Alright, with wet hands, go ahead and just pull that dough out. What we're going to be doing here is just kneading it right here, right? And it's going to come together and come off the bench. And if it doesn't come off the bench, that's what you have your scraper for. Between your hands and your scraper, it's not going to stick. I'm going to just right in. And then once we have our dough in here, I'm going to take a handy dandy shower cap. That is exactly what this is, by the way. I wanted the most ridiculous looking shower cap I could find. Here it is. That's going to keep drafts, dirt, cats, anything out of it. And it's going to let it just stay nice and supple and moist. This has got to proof for a while. The first proofing is a couple hours. It's now time to see what our dough looks like. All right, that was a little over the top, wasn't it? Nice and stretchy. This dough is ready to go. Go ahead and just knock it out here. right? So it's going to be going into this. Now what I'm going to do real quick, get this ready for it. So let's take our dough here, make sure it's not stuck to the bench. Gonna stretch, because we're trying to get tension on the other side. That in. And then I'm just rolling it up here. Pulling it into and under itself. Now, I'm going to give this about an hour, see what it looks like. All right, let's see how it grew. Perfect. Now, I'll take my lame and give it a quick cut. The oven's ready. Bake this for about an hour, about 55 minutes at 375 degrees. Throw your thermometer in there. If it reads about 202 to 205, you're done. Take it out. It'll be nice and golden brown through it all. And give it 4 or 5 hours, and then it'll be ready to cut. We have the bread, butter, apple in case you want it. I mean, why not? It's nice and green. Bunch of cheese. So we'll go from back forward. Munster, provolone, cheddar, Colby, lacy Swiss, and queso Oaxaca. This you'll find in the Mexican cheese section. It's kind of like a really tasty mozzarella. Then I've got some bacon and I got some tomatoes. Both of these I've cooked in the oven. That's how you get the bacon nice and flat. Also, all the fat just kind of falls off of it, so this is nice, crispy, flat, and not oily. These, I like drying up the tomatoes a little bit because I don't want them to waterlog the sandwich. There's a lot of different fats you can use. I prefer butter. That's how you get that beautiful crisp. So the cheese is how you determine just how stretchy and cheesy your grilled cheese is going to be. Now, obviously, the more the better, right? Your softer cheeses, like this, the lacy Swiss, the Oaxaca, the Munster, the provolone, those are going to melt and those are going to give a nice stretch. Your older cheeses, like my cheddar here and my Colby, they're going to give you a lot of flavor. Big, bright flavors, right? If you wanted a really stretchy, cheesy grilled cheese, you know, use good, strong white base of soft cheese, and then use your cheddar or other cheeses to kind of add that flavor, bring that depth. And we're just going to put our pieces down. Don't crowd them. If you can only do 4 at a time, that's fine. Now that we have the bread down, we can start getting the cheese on it. Don't be afraid to keep your temps a little on the lower side. That'll just give your grilled cheese a nice long period of time to just cook. And then you're just going to move them around. Move them around as needed. For example, this one is cooking at a good rate, so I'm going to move this over here. Use your favorite pan. If you have non-stick and you like non-stick, use non-stick. I have this great griddle, so I like using iron. Right, so here we are, and just put them together. Take a look at how it looks. Give it a quick flip. And here we are. So here's one grilled cheese. We're going to let this just cook a bit. Then we can take a look at our other ones here. For this one, this is where we can add in some of the garnish. And then we're just going to let this one toast for a bit. Now at this point, we're kind of in a position where we have enough grill room we can get our third grilled cheese going. One of the reasons why I like splitting the cheese up between the two different pieces of bread is because as the butter is cooked, it creates steam. That steam goes through the bread and starts melting that cheese. So it actually helps cut down the amount of time it takes to melt out all your cheese for the grilled cheese. That looks beautiful right there. Now with this one is bacon. Absolutely fantastic bacon. It's okay to play with your food a little bit too. One thing you can do is if you're in a non-stick pan, you can let that cheese flow out around it and it'll get lacy and some of the fat will cook out, but it will get lacy and crispy. So that way when you take it off and you cut it, you've got these little fringe of crispiness that are absolutely fantastic. So here's our tomato and bacon. Bacon and regular. Get this beautiful melt in the middle, all the cheeses around. Burn your mouth as all the bacon comes with it. There you go. Oh my God, it just keeps going. It's super easy to do. You saw how I made it. Go out, get some cheese that you like, make yourself a nice grilled cheese. The one with the tomato is really nice because the tomato helps kind of add a little tart sweetness. I have to say, I think out of all of these, the one I like the most is the one with the tomato. There we go. Beauty shot. I have my lunch. I'll see you guys next time.